Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we have an Aristone M1 which dates from around about 1964. In fact, the transformer is marked as such. I think it's 264, and it's an El Cheapo bitsa thing. It has parts from a number of different radio manufacturers. As far as I can tell, the case is from Admiral. It's one of their cast-off ones, so end of line, and then they've continued this in a different colour. It's all cut out for a clock radio inside. The chassis looks like it's a Phillips of some description. It's got Mullard valves which are in excellent condition. It's got the Phillips tuning capacitors and IF capacitors in it. It's also got the mustard caps which were made by Ducon here, and it's also got manufacturer's special products or an MSP speaker in it, little tiny one. So it doesn't sound that good, but it's a budget radio from Myer, or Myer commissioned them to be made back in the 50s and 60s. So it could be made by anybody. It's unusual in that it has the manufacturer's mark on it, or the label, showing that it's gone through the various processes, although it's not dated at all. So yes, it just has the serial number, the batch number, the model number, inspected by, tested by, and fitted by. So yeah, the serial number spot, as you can see, is not covered by anything. It has these aerial and phono input things on it, but they're not used. The voltage selector or whatever that is, or the output, voltage output, is blank. And it has time set on it there, so, or set time. So this obviously was a clock radio at some stage. It has these horrible little screws. Anything that they could use that was cheap. The chassis is actually mounted vertically to save on dial string and all that sort of thing. I believe the dial, which wasn't with the radio, oops, sorry about that. I believe the dial, which wasn't with the radio, is an AWA dial, as is the volume control. Anyway, let's get into it. There is a problem with this radio and I can't fix it because it'll take a while for the parts to come through. But yes, so without further ado, let's get into it. So as I said in the introduction, this was picked up on Saturday, the day before yesterday, and it is a pretty junky Aristone. Aristone was the house brand of Myer, a major department store in Australia. Probably the biggest at one stage by far, but I'm not sure whether David Jones has caught up or whatever. So they were initially started in Bendigo by was it? No, it was Bendigo, by Mr. Myer, who sold items to the gold rush people. Anyway, so I'm going, this cost about $2, I think. It's in pretty bad condition. It's missing a big chunk down here. It's apparently an Admiral case. So I'll find out for you what the model number of the Admiral is. It's got a crack there, which is nothing. But it's full of bits and pieces. So I'm going to open it up if I can find a screwdriver. So try my new cheap Aldi screwdrivers. And of course they don't fit. So Myer would have used the absolute bargain basement parts that they could find, because these radios didn't sell for very much. That one's okay. Wow, that is one tiny little screw. So like that Astor we had last week, I'm not expecting much from this, but I have heard that they can sound pretty good. Wow, reasonable. No. Bigger screw. Although it's still pretty tiny. So this seems to have the original label on it from the factory with the serial number batch number, model number, which is M1, which doesn't come up on anything. And yeah, so I did do a little bit of quality control on it. Okay, what have we got? Have a 6AN7A. Down here is the detector oscillator. A 6 and 8. And this looks like a M5, the good old output valve used in so many sets of this time, and that'll be a 6V4 rectifier, full wave. So what I might do, really nothing on this set at all. It's such a large chassis too. I guess if they wanted to save some money, they could have moved the output valve over here. Then, oh, maybe not. Yes, as you can see, there's absolutely nothing in there. Okay, what I'm going to do is give it a test fire. Being super careful. There's the plug is not in very good condition. So here goes nothing. So we're running on 138 or 140 volts. Well, the dial light is on. So it's 170 volts or 171. So it has 264 stamped on the transformer. Okay, we have some sound. So we'll put an aerial on it. No sound from that. I wonder what that was. So we're up to 200 volts. So we should get something. I am hearing a slight hum from it. Dead as a doornail. So it seems to be attached by just 4 screws down there of the minuscule variety again. This knob looks suspiciously AWA-ish. Wow. These speaker pins are not going to go anywhere. Or they weren't going to go anywhere. That one's a bit easier. And it's got our manufacturer's special products speaker in it, a small 4-inch one. It's got all the cutouts for another radio, probably the Admiral. It's quite a nice colour. I've got an early Panasonic Japanese radio, which is almost the same colour. I'll have to bring that over and repair that one day. Try not to cut myself yet again. I did a couple of paper cuts yesterday, getting something out of the car, and the box slipped out of my fingers, and yeah, wasn't pretty. And it kept on bleeding for about 3 hours because I was doing stuff that kept on knocking it. Okay, so the first thing is, wow, there's absolutely nothing in this. So if I can't fix this in a couple of hours, yeah, all right. So but the first thing I'm going to do is, because it's making a noise, I'm going to test the 6AN7A, which I assume is pretty similar to the 6AN7. So F1, E, F1, F1, F2, and F1, F1, F1. 3, 6.3, and 24. So this needs to come up a little bit. Wait for the heater to warm up a little bit. And it's actually really good. Wow. Okay, so it's not that. So 6 and 8 is our next one. 6 and 8. So F1, E, F1 again, F1, F2, F1, E, no, so F1, so it's 1 and then those two. And roughly the same, so 23 volt in the range, and this one's good as well. So I'm going to clean everything up. Actually, I may as well test the other two as well. Actually, that's got another side to it, hasn't it? So 7 goes to E. Hope you can see the needle on this. That's good. What's the third? So 6M5 is good. Yeah, we just have to do 6V4 now. Wow, another really good valve. So the first thing to do is to check capacitors. That's good. These mustard caps usually are okay. This looks like a sort of a Phillips sourced set. This is going to be one of those sets where everything is so simple that it's hard to find the fault. Okay, so what I'm going to do again is connect up a test speaker. Okay, so our dim bulb is on 215, which should give us plenty of voltage and current for this set. Yeah. So let's have a tinker with the voltages. $149. That's not right. What have we got on the 186? 187. 0.7. 198. Well, this is, oh, no, that goes to ground. So 0. $8.4. It's very strange. bring it up a little bit more. So we've got 6 volts on the heaters. Yeah, that's close enough. Got 204 volts there, which is good. What? How bizarre. It's suddenly working, and I'm nowhere near it. In fact, I'm over the other side of the room. Yes, I'm going to leave it there because I have to go to a medical appointment to get the 4th booster jab. And it's strange radio. So it sounds like maybe the oscillator is playing up or something like that. I'm back and it's interesting news. So the problem with the reception was the oscillator, and I had to replace a cap. It's really minuscule, it's really tiny. So you can see how big this was. So this is one of those tiny glass ones, and the leads are really fine on them, and they had just given up the ghost. So I replaced it with a 470 picofarad mica cap. But I've also found an article in Silicon Chip magazine which says original value of this padder capacitor was 470 puff, which made RF alignment almost impossible. So what they've done is they've replaced it with a 425, but there's also something else wrong with it. So I replaced that cap. I don't know whether you can hear, but it's beginning to drift back in again. No, it's drifted out again. So this padder here, or the trimmer, I should say, was really dodgy and filthy. and it drifts everywhere. So I'm just doing the padder.
I don't know, mate. Me worries about all that stuff. I'm here to win golf tournaments. You chose not to refute it, but perhaps you wanted to annoy the journalist by not getting a direct answer.
So it'll run for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then it will start to drift and drift again, and then it'll come back in again and then drift out. So there's a little ceramic cap there. While that seems to be okay, it's on the oscillator, and I might replace that. That is supposed to be a 39 nanofarad. There's also a, maybe that's the one. It's hard to tell, but these two are suspect. But I'd say it was this one, because this is supposed to be very, very tight tolerance. It's got a gold band on it. So red and brown or something. So that'd be 20 something, but not sure. Or yellow, brown, red or something. I'm not sure which. I'll have to look it up, which way you read these capacitors. But I'll have to order a 39 nanofarad and a 425 picofarad for it, and add that to my order list, which is almost getting to the point where I can get free shipping. So yes, so it'll be a couple of weeks, but other than that, I'm not going to. This radio is working fine. In fact, it sounds quite good once it's on the station, but it is drifting like a sheet in the wind. So I'm going to give this a thorough clean and put it away and wrap this video up, I think, because there's not much I can do with it until I can get hold of a couple of those mica caps. Okay, so see you on the flip side.